so much of our lives inside, either in traffic at work or close eyes. How about we all agree that it's way overdue to take back our lives? I can work wherever now. You can work wherever now. Take your guard and let it down, 'cause you can work wherever now. Take your guard and let it down, 'cause you can work wherever now.
Hey guys, and welcome into the Work Wherever podcast. So we're trying something out new today. We're live in the Go Work Wherever Facebook community, and we're building this cohesive community of remote workers, remote organizations. And so we're building a website, goworkwherever.com. What else we have? YouTube. What else? Facebook.
For Go Work Wherever?
Yeah.
Well, so we have Capital Presence for all
yeah.
of that. And
Yes.
then it's kind of will morph into all together. But we have TikTok, Instagram, YouTube,
We
Facebook.
got all kinds of stuff, fun stuff.
Have all the things.
But we're building this community of remote workers through the Facebook community, which is where we did this live. It's a gated community of remote workers, remote professionals, people who are looking to build remote business cultures. And so we're going live in that, but we also are posting these podcasts to YouTube if you're watching us through the video. And then we are on Spotify, iTunes, pretty much everywhere.
Apple Podcasts.
Everywhere.
Yep.
So we have 4 different versions of said podcast. We have the trivia, which we have done one but never published it, right?
Not yet.
Not yet. We have the I don't know. Austin called it Roy's Rants, which I kind of like that. But it's just basically me going over these what if scenarios.
That's funny.
And then we have these. So this is Sydney and Roy. Did we call them hotspots? So it's just like
browsing the internet.
just browsing, just clicking through the internet and
It's what we do best.
seeing, just having a ball.
Truly.
And then what's the 4th one? Interviews with people.
Yeah.
Obviously, traditional podcast format where we're interviewing people, which we've posted like 3 or 4 of those.
Right.
The last one was with
Jessica,
over the
CEO
camper CEO, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Which that's a good one. I enjoyed
That was
that
a good one.
conversation. So today we are doing Browse the Internet. So Sydney, you're basically you're the podcast host for this.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I do basically. So every Thursday or Friday morning, I'll go through and just pretty much Google remote work and see what comes up for our newsletter. But then they're obviously good to talk about too. But I saw a lot of recently is how remote work is basically to blame for internet or for housing prices being so high.
Really?
Yeah.
Housing prices are being blamed. They're going to blame remote workers for
Everything
anything.
because they're jealous.
because they want people to come back.
Right.
So some of that I understand. Some of that I understand where you have these people in power, and I've done podcasts on this before, where to say you have these people in power that understand how to do something a very specific way, and they've made their millions or billions or hundreds of thousands on building culture a very specific way and sending people to the office, and so they are in charge and they understand how to do that. So when you implement change and innovation in any organization, regardless of size, then the leadership is the most in danger, because if they can't lead you to the next horizon, to the next step, then they're out the door, and we'll replace them with somebody who can lead us to the next phase, the next way of life. And that's the way that, especially when you get into the large organizations who want to be future proof and they're looking at 5-10 years in the future, they want leadership who's going to be doing, the stock market goes up, right? They want to see their shares go up, and they want to see the money improve. And so when you're sending people home, when you have this new remote culture and you have these older, gray hairs in charge that this is new to them and they don't know what to do, then they panic and bring everybody back. Right. So you'll see these articles, and you have to remember, who owns the media? There's a big 6, right? If you guys have ever been to journalism school, there's the big 6. So they have the way to push their own agenda through the media if they really wanted to, you know. And I think that there's a lot of reasons to encourage people to come back. You have political members who cities are in trouble because people are leaving the cities. You have that exodus of California and New York. So those politicians are going to be wanting to push it, and they're going to be talking to the press and saying, hey, this is the narrative that we want to push. And then you have the big remote, or, you know, the big enterprise organizations who own the medias, like Disney. Disney owns ESPN and ABC, and, you know.
And well, yeah.
So if they want to say something, then they will. And I think Amazon owns the Washington Post. And I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. And you know, some people are probably thinking I got my tinfoil hat on, but I was a media member for about like 10 years. I owned a media organization. I was on the radio, and I reported sports, but which, did you know that? You knew this.
I don't think I knew that.
You didn't know this? So I worked for SiriusXM.
No, I knew that.
Yeah. And I owned my own media company for a while. And I had media credentials to a lot of different universities and professional sports organizations. And they would give you stat sheets to say, this is what we want you to report on. This is the narrative we want you to kind of go with. Now, you can write whatever you want,
right,
but smaller organizations like I was before I worked for Sirius, you would have to send your clips to the people who grant you the credentials so that they could like review it to see if, you know, because they don't want you just trashing their teams,
right?
Because they want to control who's in there, right? So this whole idea behind narrative, it's nothing new, right? So I'm always very cautious whenever I see this, like where it's, so what is the headline?
Well, I only bring it up just because I like saw it over and over and over again. Obviously, like they'll take one thing and just like repost it
Right.
on all these different things. So why are houses so expensive right now? Blame remote work.
Blame remote work.
Blame us.
Why not?
So they're saying between November 2019 and 2021, housing prices rose 24%. Now, anybody with a brain
Okay.
can also know that that's probably because of a million other things
Yeah.
too. But that's what they're saying in this. Increased demand for working from home accounted for more than 60% of overall price hikes and similar increases in rent during that period.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say that I have sold and bought a house during this time frame,
Right.
none of which was associated with whether or not people were going to be working from home. Now, I will say that I did move further away from the city because I have the ability to work from home.
Right.
I don't think that had anything to do with the rising housing prices. I just don't see that as a real narrative.
Right. The only way that I can like see them spin that is be like, oh, like people want more in home offices and things like that, but I don't.
Which we've had that conversation before.
Right. Exactly.
Which, to an extent, remote work is going to allow people to move to new locations. So if they're saying that the rise in home prices are for like outside of the city, rural areas,
I think that is what they're saying.
Is that what they're getting at?
Yeah. So they're saying cities saw the biggest uptick in housing costs, while regions less amenable to remote work experienced slower housing price growth.
So regions that have less amenities geared towards remote workers have slower house price growth. See, I would
think it would be the opposite.
I would think
almost.
it would be the opposite.
But then it's also saying places that emerge as hotspots include Charleston, Orlando, and Wilmington, Delaware.
So Charleston, South Carolina has long been a city that has a lot of military. There's a lot of spay wars down there, or whatever they call it now. So that is kind of like that's always been thought of as kind of like the next transient city. Orlando is big time cloud computing. Like all of our distributors are down there. Microsoft holds their conference there.
Right.
So that makes a lot of sense in terms of remote organizations, or moving to that general Orlando area. What was the other one?
Wilmington, Delaware?
Delaware. Interesting.
Is that like Bethany Beach area?
Yeah, you might be right. I don't know. Delaware gets me. I don't know why that is that's an interesting one. There's no taxes.
There are no taxes.
In
you can
Delaware.
Also drive through it in like 20 minutes.
Right. I can hit a golf ball. right?
I'm not
That
sure.
one I don't have. I would need to look more into Wilmington, Delaware. That's interesting. See, it makes sense to me that San Francisco, New York, you have the mass exodus out of California of people not remote related. Although you could argue that people moved to San Francisco in the first place for technology jobs, and now you don't necessarily have to be there anymore, and you can live wherever you want. So there is that aspect to it, which I do believe that the rising cost could, change the exodus of San Francisco. But I don't know. I'm having a hard time with this article, to be honest with you. I would have thought that areas where you can buy a lot of land would
Go up.
see right
So that would make more sense.
than
Or rural.
cities.
Exactly. And they should be going
Because
down.
you would think that supply and demand would mean that people are leaving cities, therefore the demand is low to move into a city and the supply is high, which it does make sense.
That's what I would think
But
too.
whatever, good for you, NBC or whoever this is that on reporting this.
Have fun
I don't see anything.
paying $1
Whatever.
million.
I think it's just one more thing. Like that's like fat butt disease, where we had that article that we talked about.
UK fat butt disease.
Yeah, blaming remote work for like back problems.
Being lazy.
Trying to say it was unhealthy. Yeah.
I know.
All right, what do we got next?
All right. Going through. Do we just want to do all remote work? What do we want to do?
Yeah, we could
Gonna
do
mix
these.
it
I mean,
up?
yeah, we could pick any of these. To
I
be
mean,
honest,
Florida. We can talk about Florida.
there is Florida. Well, I guess we have to tackle. So it's October. So the before we get into the next remote work article, we are moving into October, which I'm not going to ask you how old you are, Sydney, but do you know Hocus Pocus? You know Hocus Pocus, right?
I'm a
Big.
basic white girl.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank God.
I do know Hocus Pocus. So the new one's coming out tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I can watch it. I don't have Disney Plus, but it is coming out tomorrow.
If I had a login that I would share with you, I would give you that login.
Thank you.
I do have Disney Plus, and we are
You are gonna watch it.
we are going to watch it. But we are actually so Courtney Phillips, who works for us too.
Right.
She's coming over tomorrow night with her kids, and I have a big projector, and we're
Cute.
doing it in the backyard
I love
tomorrow.
that.
So we're going to watch Hocus Pocus 2 on the projector, which I thought it came out October 1st. I think we're watching it Saturday night. Either way, we are making a big skeptical of it because Hocus Pocus is a great movie, and if you don't know the first one, then I don't know what to say to you. We to stop listening to this podcast because I don't want you associated with my tribe if you're not a Hocus Pocus fan. To be honest, I don't like Halloween's not.
I love Halloween.
You like Halloween?
I love Halloween. My dad goes like all out.
My aunt goes all out,
Mm-hmm.
and they have crazy decorations, and growing up we would do we built a tent that had a haunted house, and we did like this cool, she went crazy. She still goes crazy. My mom would fly in and help her do just paper mache. I mean, her whole house. I'll show you a picture.
I love a haunted house.
It's crazy what she does. I never really got into it.
Do you like scary movies?
I don't.
Oh, see, I was like that kid. I remember when Netflix first started and they were like still sending out like,
The discs.
the things and like the little paper things. My mom being like, "Who ordered Texas Chainsaw Massacre?" Like I was not that old, maybe 10. I was like, "Oh, that was me."
Right.
Like I was like, "I just want to like build up. It's almost October. Like I'm trying to watch all the classic scary movies." And she was like, "You can't do that."
I don't do. Yeah, no. So
I was like,
Haley,
"But I am doing that."
Haley's into like the podcasts and the.
Oh yes.
Which
We were
I think
texting the other day.
You gave her a show.
Dahmer.
Dahmer.
My fiance
Yeah, you don't say boyfriend anymore.
has acquired Jeffrey Dahmer glasses from your brother-in-law. And he
Why?
just wears them around. He wore them all day yesterday. I was like, I can't.
I hate.
I
So
can't do
last
this.
night she was like, "Do you want to watch a movie or like watch a show with me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And so like we lay down on the couch and she turns on Dahmer and she's like, "Do you want to watch
It's
an
hard to
episode with?"
watch.
It's awful.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it. I mean, I watched it with
hard to
her, and
watch.
that's cool. Now she falls asleep to it, and I'm like,
Me.
"What is going on?" It's like he's beating people with
I
hammers,
mean,
and
it
like
happened. I mean, that's what makes it so scary, obviously, is because it happens
Just
in
a-
real life. But
just a messed up person.
I-
So
My
So
brother.
yeah, Hocus Pocus 2 coming out this weekend. So that's a big. And we are entering into spooky season, which I've pumpkin everything.
We love spooky season.
I ordered pumpkin coffee from, and this
Mm.
is not an advertisement, from Confessions Coffee. So if you go to confessionscoffee.com, they have the best pumpkin.
I think
Coffee.
it's International Coffee Day. I want to say is either today or October 1st.
Is it?
I wasn't sure. I was gonna make a post about it, but
Well, go to confessionscoffee.com. They are in no way paying me to say that, but they have the best pumpkin coffee.
I
So-
had a Dunkin'. I do like Starbucks holiday drinks, but I decided to try the
the apple.
cold brew, the pumpkin
Oh,
cold brew from
the
Dunkin'.
cold brew is the best.
Not great.
No.
From Dunkin'.
Oh, see, I don't go to Dunkin'.
I do love Dunkin' Donuts,
Yeah, the
but
donuts.
I feel like it's never consistent.
Yeah.
But
the
I like it for
donuts-
their principle.
I like the donuts at Dunkin' Donuts, but then they try to change their name to like Dunkin', and they're like, "Oh, we're more
I
than
just-
donuts."
Dunks.
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 I can't get into Dunkin' coffee. Never have. I just get straight black.
Well, it's always
Normal.
different. I love it, but every time it tastes different.
Yeah,
I will say.
yeah. That's why I just drink black. I just drink black coffee. But pumpkin coffee from Confessions. The other coffee that I like that is pumpkin, is Black Rifle. Have you heard of Black
Mhm.
Rifle? Have you had it before?
Yeah.
It's called Basic Batch, and
Oh,
that
that's
is those are my only two pumpkin coffees that I'll drink. Everything
That's
else it has
funny.
to be like black coffee with a pumpkin
Mm.
added. You know what I mean?
I'm more of like an apple person. Like, you ever had an apple cider donut?
Yeah. So there's a place in
Ugh.
Virginia
So good.
called the Apple House. Have you ever been?
Is it in like Winchester?
It's in Linden, yeah.
Linden.
Yeah.
With the big apple.
Yeah.
I think like near Winchester. Yes. I've
Yes.
seen it.
Similar
if I've
to
been
yeah,
in
it's on the way to Funchester, we call it. And they have pulled pork sandwiches,
Ooh.
apple cider, like real apple cider.
They have
Not
apple
like
cider like slushies. Those are good too.
I've never had an apple cider slushy.
I haven't gotten to go this year. Generally, I'll do like a fall trip, like go apple picking or something, but I haven't gotten to.
You
this
can go
year.
apple picking outside. I bought two
Really?
apple trees, which I got a great
Amazing.
deal on them. It was about this time last year where I was looking into apple trees, and I guess you plant apple trees in the spring, which makes sense. And so I got two apple trees for $20, and planted them, and they yielded apples in the first year that I had them. So I have two apple trees right now. They're Granny Smith apple.
Oh, even better. They're the best for pies.
The green ones,
Mhm.
yeah. So they are
I
not.
love a
They're
Honey
not
Crisp.
very sweet.
Honey crisp.
Yeah, but
Those are the best.
yeah, but yeah, fall's here.
Fall is here. Are you? What about Halloween Town? We had this conversation this morning on our morning stand up, which
Did
is
you?
why I asked. I had my background. I changed it to like Stars Hollow, like
Mhm.
Gilmore Girls for fall,
Yeah,
and Taylor changed hers to the pumpkin from Halloween Town.
Halloween Town's good. So I don't
I
know.
prefer that.
You're younger than me,
Yeah, I love a Disney Channel movie.
so to me, Halloween Town was not.
So good.
It wasn't like a. It wasn't part of my tradition.
Mm.
Now, I will also say that Halloween wasn't big in my family growing up.
Right.
So like we didn't really like get together and watch like Christmas we go hard.
All out. What Christmas movie are
My
you?
family goes hard.
For
on
the what?
Christmas.
Which one is yours though?
So growing up, I feel like it was all the Rudolphs, you know?
Okay.
It was the Rudolph movies, Charlie Brown.
Great Pumpkin. It's my
yeah.
dad. My dad.
So
Makes sense.
like those were growing up. Now, as I've gotten older, it has become every Christmas Eve, my wife and we watch the Christmas Vacation.
Okay.
And then
That's a good
I feel like there's two types of people. You're either an elf person or you're a Grinch.
Neither.
You're
I prefer Christmas Story. I'll watch it on. See, I watch it on repeat, but I never catch the full thing. So I always like do 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there, and eventually throughout the 24 hours, I will finish the movie.
you don't like Grinch or Elf,
It's not that I don't like them.
Sydney?
I wouldn't pick it. You know what I love? My absolute favorite Christmas movie in the entire world.
What?
Jingle All the Way.
Jingle All the Way. Hey,
I love it. I can quote the whole thing.
oh my God, which one's Jingle All the Way? Is that the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yes.
And he's like the
Turbo Man.
Turbo Man.
I ordered like custom Turbo Man wrapping paper
Oh my
for my
gosh.
presents. I
And
want to say
then
like 2
they
years
don't.
ago
He
from
doesn't
Etsy.
even get the doll at the end, but he doesn't care because my dad's Turbo Man. Yeah, Spoiler alert. For anybody.
That's the best. It's the best
Oh
one
my
in the
gosh,
entire
yes.
world.
We are entering into holiday season, which, as a remote worker and a remote organization, people who are remote workers will take less leave during the holiday season. So you'll actually get more done. Your productivity will increase. So that's a benefit. So that you can just chill and watch the new Hocus Pocus and get your work done and then not have to worry about the gray hairs back at the office. So that's good.
Oh yeah, some ambiance in the background, your little hot chocolate. I started doing that the other day.
Did you?
I just like YouTube
kicking
like
it at home?
fall ambiance video,
Mm-hmm.
and it just has like wind and like leaves sound, and it's
Yeah.
like a pretty little scene, and it's like an 8-hour long YouTube video.
And that's what you do for
Well,
your...
there's a bunch of them, but
This is
yeah,
part of your at-home vibe?
sometimes.
What's your routine? Like your morning routine?
I get up,
That's a
I
good. God bless.
brush my teeth,
All right.
I walk both my dogs,
Okay.
I feed my dogs. I'm sorry, I brush my teeth after I do that.
After.
Put my hair up,
Okay.
change into Capitol Presence clothes,
There we go.
and I hop on morning stand-up.
That's your whole routine.
Yep.
You're just...
Sometimes I make a coffee.
Sometimes you're not a big coffee person.
I have been lately.
I have to have a coffee in the morning. So
Sometimes.
today, that's a great routine, by the way. Might want to add a few things in there. I like that you get out of the house, though. Like walking your
I
dog.
have to. Yeah, we don't have a yard.
Well, that's good. That'll keep you... it'll keep you a little active. I wake up most days, and I'm 100% so far on waking up. And I'll go downstairs, pour myself some coffee. Generally the kids have to go do something, so today they had swim practice, so we are getting them out the door. Today I helped my daughter with some schoolwork because we homeschool all of our children.
Right.
So we are like, when you talk about remote, we are the remote family. We're both remote workers, obviously, because we own a business together. And then our 4 children are all homeschooled.
Right.
And then we live out in the cut. Like, we're out in the
Exactly.
woods out here. So I'm like the remote, you're listening to the right podcast if you're into the remote stuff. But I got up, go downstairs, I'll pour myself a coffee. If there's some family things that need to be done, then, I chip in. Generally, Haley takes care of most of that, to be honest with you. And then I'll read the Bible, and I'm reading 2 books right now, and I have an audio book of another. So I'm reading The Power of One More by Ed Millett, and I'm reading How God Makes Men. Those are the 2 books that I'm reading. And then there's another book that I'm using as an audio book, which is Raising Giant Killers. It's a parenting book. Haley was like, you need to read more parenting books. And I was like, well, I'm going to listen to it on audiobook because I don't want to, I'm already reading too much. But
We had the audiobook conversation the other day. And my cousin's in like high school. We do Sunday family dinners. And he was talking about reading Lord of the Flies. I was like, do you know how many books I read in high school?
Zero. So I read
0 books.
I read like half, like I would read like 3/4 of a book, half a book. Cause I would be reading and I would just like skimming and I would skim through the books and I would write a book report up.
Spark notes that.
Right.
For sure.
I'd read like half the book and then I'd read like the last 20 pages and then write my book report on it. And cause nobody really cares about like like what's the general premise of the book? Okay, well it starts off with da 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 da, and you got to read the book to find out more.
He's like, no, I have to. Like, it's about like what theme and like overall and like very in-depth questions, which I would have
Do
hated.
you read more now? Did you read the
No.
Starbucks book? You
I read the Starbucks book.
Did you?
I did actually read the Starbucks book.
Did I get you a copy of The Power of One More?
It's in my car.
Have you started reading it?
No.
Okay.
See, I need to build that into my
Okay.
routine. I'm
We'll
not a
get it-
morning person
we'll
though.
get
Like
you into
I will sleep as long as I can and roll out of bed.
I'm like that too.
And I'm a night person too, so
Me
I
too.
prefer like to stay up late. So I need to work.
What's
on
late
it.
for you?
1 a.m.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm up 1 a.m., 2 a.m. And that's why I'm saying, like, we watched that Dahmer thing last night. And it's like, it wasn't even that late. It was like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Haley's passed out, and now I'm watching this scary-ass show that I want nothing to do with. I'm watching it because I was hanging out with my wife.
My brother, he lives in LA. I don't know how he does it, but apparently he's an actor. He is an actor, but he
Apparently he's an actor.
He is an actor, but he auditioned for like 5 roles in it.
In the Dahmer show?
Specifically.
Okay. Well,
Probably good. He probably would have been.
did he get any of them?
No, but he
No.
would have been murdered.
He would have
I'm
been
sure
murdered.
if he.
Well, everybody
wasn't
gets
it.
murdered in that show.
Most people, yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right, what's the next article we got here?
All right. Let's see. I mean, literally, they're all about housing.
So that's like the big that's the big topic trend this month is all about housing. And
It's just
I will
over
say
and
that the
over and over
housing market has drastically changed. I mean, you look at, so we started our home buying process in 2019, and the prices kept going up and up and up. You saw houses get pulled off the market and then get put back on so that they could drastically hike their prices up. So it made buying a house, like we've been here for a year. So a year ago is when we bought, and you know, the rates were great, which I think that has more to do with these housing changes than anything else, was the amount of buyers over the last couple of years. Now that houses are going, we're going up. Let's talk about rates more so than the remote workers. I think that remote workers has very little to do with it, although it makes a good narrative, I guess, in some of these
I'm dreading
articles.
it.
So
We're probably looking next year, I would say.
right now you don't want to buy.
I know.
You don't want to buy right now.
I was working on our registry for our wedding coming up, and there's an option for like a new home fund.
2 doors down is for sale. He'll be my neighbor.
I cannot afford
sent it
that.
to my brother.
I guarantee you that is out of my price range.
Well,
Would love it though.
You might.
Mm.
I sent it to my brother.
Have a conversation with your brother.
I was like, be my neighbor.
Well,
And he was like, maybe.
he just got a beautiful house.
He is probably about to sell it.
Got it. Yep.
He doesn't,
It's a big house.
yeah, it's a big house. And he has neighbors. He doesn't like his neighbors.
Oh.
So-
I don't think they liked us either when we were at that party.
Which it leads to remote work. Yeah, I don't have neighbors. I have 5 acres out here. Don't have to see my people. I don't have to see
That is
anybody.
nice.
I
I live
only
on top of my neighbors.
I only see the
hate
people that I want to see. It's fantastic.
You know what? Actually, I live in an apartment building, and I rarely see my neighbors either.
Yeah, well, that's good.
I smell their food and hear them occasionally, but I don't see them much.
Yeah, the music through the walls type thing. What article is this? What do you got pulled up here?
Okay, so this one is remote work works for the environment.
Okay.
Yep.
So not a housing article.
Not a housing article. I haven't read it yet, but I can already imagine travel,
Yeah.
for one.
Well, we've talked a lot about that on this show.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. We talked about
Or
some
commuting,
of
at
the yeah
least.
the less commuting that you have to do, the less traveling you have to do. Gas prices were significantly low over the pandemic. I hate calling it that, but over the 2020, gas prices were very low. People weren't traveling, so from a green gas perspective, when people don't travel, it's good for the environment. Which you saw all kinds of articles about that, where people were like, nobody's traveling, other the emissions, or oh, this is actually
Are
really
going
good.
down. Mm-hmm.
It's like no crap. Of course, remote work is good for U.S. emissions. Which, what does that say? 29% of U.S. emissions went down, or something like that.
Yep, I think that is what this article is about. So it's saying, I think it's an opinion piece, but he's basically saying that carbon avoidance should be like a
Right.
tax incentive for
Which
people.
makes complete sense. If people don't leave their houses,
Don't you get it for like hybrid cars and stuff?
you do. Yeah.
So
Why wouldn't I get a tax break for not sitting in traffic for 2 hours
Exactly.
and letting my gas car run?
I agree.
I am for that. I am all for putting money back into the taxpayer. I think that we are taxed way too much. And if there are going to be remote tax breaks, then bring them on. I don't know that we will, because like we talked about in the beginning of this
They
episode,
don't want
where
that to happen.
people don't like the fact that people are working remote. So some businesses do, but the gray hairs in charge do not. So just know that. What was the latest article that you sent out for? There was like a travel. It was like, you want to travel more.
Let me pull it up.
Yeah. Because I found that. I read that article.
You read it?
I did.
You
I do
read what I
read
sent?
your articles
Sometimes I
that
try
are sent out.
to make them not suck.
Well, I appreciate that. So
Okay, this.
as we
maybe.
get into this, so these articles that we're going through, a lot of these are on capitalpresence.com, but we are, since you all are in the Go Work Wherever Facebook group, or you should be if you're listening to this podcast, we are going to have more articles up around remote work. All of the articles that Sydney and I talk about on our podcast will go up onto the Go Work Wherever website, which is yet to be released. But so this is the travel one. 4 ways remote work is driving the biggest revolution in travel in over 100 years. So this one, I read this. It was a great article.
Yeah, nice and short.
And it basically you sent out the email and it was like, do you want to travel more? I'm like, yeah, obviously I want to travel more. Oh wait, this is from my company, I should read this. And it talks about like people have the laptops and they're able to work from the laptops, and you can bring your laptop places where you couldn't bring your desktop computer, which that's kind of like a remote work conversation from like 10 years ago, where people had these desktop computers, and so the big remote desktop or RDP was like, I want to be able to log into my desktop computer that's connected to like an Ethernet, that I can RDP into it. And look at this, here's my desktop. That's like kind of like an old way. Now that cloud boom has really happened, and if you're using Microsoft 365, then your stuff follows you around no matter where you log in, which is really cool. Right. You can bring your work, right? And so the laptop luggers is what they call them. You can bring your whole office with you, literally, in Office 365. And then it talks about private rentals becoming mainstream, which is empty home. That's like the Airbnb stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. So
and for longer periods.
Right, because people can. It's no longer like I'm going to go an hour away for this long weekend. You could take a week or two. Right. So you're starting to see that.
And that's what it's saying too. So basically, like, these people who can travel around aren't commuting, things like that. Putting more money in their wallet, so they have more money to spend on vacations and things like that. And then it also says added an average of 3 or more days into their trip.
Interesting.
When it's an option too, which we kind of spoke about a couple weeks ago. The whole bleisure thing. So you don't really necessarily have to take leave. Whatever, summer Fridays, you can take that extra, like Friday or Monday or something like that as a travel day.
Yeah. Yeah, bleisure was a word that I hadn't heard before we brought it up on the last podcast, what would business leisure? Yep. Right?
Business and leisure.
You're traveling, because before it was like business or pleasure, which I don't know, do they still ask that question?
I've never been asked that question.
Yeah.
I was almost a airline attendant.
I could see you have a very airline attendant vibe to you.
That's what I went to school for, is hospitality. So
is it really?
You didn't know that?
I think I did. I probably knew that.
Yep. So recreation and tourism, like, it was a Parks and Rec major.
Have we had this conversation
about
I don't
think so.
The show?
I never watched it. It's funny. I know clips of it, but I never watched it.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not kill me, but I don't think like that. Parks and Rec, The Office. What are other ones like that? I don't think they're that
What are
funny.
other hilarious shows? Is that what you're asking me?
It's not
Those are my 2 favorite shows.
I don't love them that much.
Oh my god.
Anyways, tourism management was my focus.
I like how the article ends. It talks about the Airbnb trips being longer, which obviously people, have more capability to work remote. So they're able to extend. It says 3 days. So if you think about it, you can leave halfway through the day. You don't have to hop on a plane at like 7 o'clock at night or like super early in the morning.
Right.
You can leave whenever you want, essentially, because you can work through the airport. And then whenever I leave, I no longer leave on like Friday afternoons. I leave at like Thursday morning. And so I'll leave a Thursday morning, get down there, do work Thursday afternoon, Thursday night, depending on where I'm going, of course. And then Friday, set up and work that day, while my family's vacationing. And I guess I'm on vacation too, but not really, kind of a thing. And then so you have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then generally speaking, we will stay through Monday morning and then leave Monday afternoon, Monday night, to get back Tuesday. So it extends so I'm working Friday and Monday.
I'm taking one of those next week.
You are?
We have Monday off. But
where are you going? Oh, it's Columbus Day, right? Is it still called that? Can I call it that?
No, you can't.
Okay.
Indigenous Peoples Day?
Indigenous Peoples Day,
Get it together, boy.
I think the government still refers to it as Columbus Day. But yeah, because they got brought up on I was on a military call today. Yeah. And they brought it up saying that Columbus Day, and I was like, oh yeah.
It's so great. I came from I worked at a winery, so it was very tourism focused, but we didn't get any of those holidays off. If anything, we had to work those holidays and had specials and stuff. So it is such a nice breath of fresh air to be able to be off on a holiday.
Where are you going?
Connecticut for a wedding.
That's your fiance is from Connecticut.
Correct.
So is it one of his friends' weddings?
Yes.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
We're gonna drive up on Friday, but I'll work the whole way in the Tesla, so I'll have Wi-Fi too.
He drives a Tesla?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Man, they all the
Don't get a Tesla unless you have a charger at your house.
all of your group, his group of friends, I feel like they all drive Teslas.
Yep.
Which I have Wi-Fi in my truck.
Yeah.
Which, when I was first looking at cars and trucks, and I did look at the Tesla because I like how much tech they have. And
Oh, they're awesome. They're super cool.
they're so cool. I don't like the fact that they die in like a day.
They do that.
That my brother and brother-in-law both drive Teslas, and I've been, while my car has been in the shop, been allowed to drive them. They've lent them to me. And living out in the woods, it takes me 20 minutes to get to a gas station, period.
Right.
So I don't have the charger at my house because they've lent me the car. So I get into the car and then have to basically drive straight to a charging station and then sit there for 25
You
minutes.
can plug it in for like 2 days and maybe it'll get back to 100. Yeah, we live in an apartment. We don't have one. It's a pain in the butt.
You don't have a charger for your house?
No.
Yeah. That's tough.
I mean, I have my own car. I have my own car.
You have to build it into your day.
You have to.
On wherever you're going.
Drives me nuts because my fiance does not build it into his day, and then like we'll remember like, oh, I have to charge the car. I'm like, that adds like another hour.
It's crazy. And I just, so anyways, the Teslas have Wi-Fi, and I was like, who needs Wi-Fi? And then after I got into my truck, I don't know that I could buy a car without Wi-Fi again. You can work the whole while you're traveling, to your point. If Evan's driving and you got the Wi-Fi on in the Tesla,
Be on my laptop.
you're just working.
No, granted, I could do it from my phone, maybe from 5G,
But
but it's not the same.
Right. Hotspots are unreliable, which we did do a YouTube video that is still under production, where I compared my truck's Wi-Fi to a hotspot Wi-Fi to a USB plug-in Wi-Fi. And I will say, because I want people to go watch the YouTube video, but I will say that the phone hotspot did the worst. That was the worst of the three. Super slow.
Oh, yeah.
Connectivity is awful, very unreliable. It gives it to you, but it's more of in a pinch. I wouldn't recommend it. It's pretty bad. And it's not very secure. It's the least secure of the three options as well. But
I haven't used it yet.
Well, you're in for a treat.
I'm excited.
You're in
you
for
can
a
message
treat.
me all day.
Yeah. Just Teams messages nonstop.
It is cool though. So like you'll put in your end destination, where you want to go, and it'll say like calculating. So it'll bring up. So it won't tell you like, oh, Connecticut's 6 hours away or whatever. It'll say 2 hours, and it'll route you to your first like charging point.
Will it really?
And then it won't say like, oh, like you don't have to do a full charge. It'll say you need to charge for 25 minutes in order to make it to this place, and this is how much battery you'll have left when you go here. So it kind of breaks it up like that.
Yeah.
It makes it seem like your trip is going faster, even though it's longer,
Even though it's
obviously, because you
longer,
have to stop and charge.
Right.
But yeah, it's not bad.
I did seek out charging stations that.
Like you don't have to do it yourself. Like it'll plan it out for you.
Well, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
I would plug it in and then go in to like. I feel like Sheetz often has.
Sheetz and Wawa usually.
And then they have the MTOs, and you get food, and it's like, because you're there for like 20 minutes, you know. But yeah, those Wi-Fi.
Depends where you go to.
So Bleisure, I like it. I like it. What was the other article that we posted this month? Let's do one more article.
Recently?
Yeah.
All right, let's see. I lose track. Remote education.
Remote education.
Or corporate culture. Either one.
We've touched on both of those this month. Let's do education. Yeah, let's do education.
Culture we talk about.
We talk about culture a lot on this show, which, you know, real quick, to help you with your remote culture, make sure that on all of your meetings your video is turned on, and then make sure that you guys are having morning stand-ups, and then make sure that you have somewhere built into your organization a place where people can communicate in real time, whether that's Teams or Slack or Yammer, or I guess Yammer is no longer called Yammer, now it's called Viva Engage. But you need those places to exist, or people are going to feel distant from your organization and then end up leaving. So there you go. There's your remote culture one. So let's talk about education.
So this one says, education company employees overwhelmingly prefer remote work. How are organizations responding?
Education, say that again. Education companies Wait.
company employees overwhelmingly prefer remote work. How are
Interesting.
organizations responding?
Okay. So I know that. So I was a remote student for the last. So I went to West Virginia, and I was on campus for a period of time, and then my second half of my senior year was a remote student for my last like 18 credits or something,
Mm-hmm.
and I flew through those classes, and I liked them a lot more because when you're on campus, a lot of that stuff is attendance based, which I don't know what college was like when you were there, but when I was there, if you missed class 3 times, you got an automatic fail.
Mine was not like that.
Yeah, mine was.
Mine was definitely not like that.
I hated that. And so when I moved, because, you know, it wasn't like I didn't know the stuff and it wasn't like I didn't study. It was, I had a hard time going to class because, well, I had 2 jobs in college. I was a member of the fraternity. And when I say I was a member of the fraternity, like I was an active member, I was on the board, and I'm still on the board of advisors of my fraternity that I was in. So I had a lot going on.
Yeah.
And so like sometimes I would not go to class. And I'm not saying like I skipped class a lot, but I missed it more than 3 times. Plus I have Crohn's disease. Like I had to take medical leave one semester because I missed a class like 4 times or something because I was sick.
That's wild.
And I had to take medical leave. And now they let me drop the class because otherwise you would get like a withdrawal, which doesn't look good, you know, but I was able to take medical leave and went medically withdraw from classes. But my senior year, I went remote and took online courses, and that was awesome. It was on your own pace. It was so much better.
Yeah. So for ours, I went to Old Dominion, which is a big remote university anyways, just because they do a lot of military and things like that. I think they're one of the top ones, actually. But for my major specifically, our last semester, we had to do like a 12 credit like internship.
Yeah.
That's what we did. So we would have to fill things out like, you know, occasionally, but that is what we did. So we weren't allowed to take any classes during that. So I had to take like extra classes like in the summers in order to be able to like finish in 4 years and take that at the right time.
So did you finish in 4 years?
I did.
That's like pretty unheard of.
Well, I was very lucky. My parents definitely helped me with loans and everything like that, but they were basically like 4 years is what you get. But I did go in knowing what I wanted to do, which is not always the case. So
yeah, I switched majors like 3 times.
Yeah, there you go. So I definitely took summer classes like and was remote, which is probably way different than what it is now. Like, it was here's a PowerPoint, do your test, and you can do that at your own.
Yeah.
You know, leisure. But
that's how ours was. It was Blackboard.
But a lot of them were in like 3 weeks. You had 3 weeks for a class, and like that
expedited,
was that, which I prefer.
Well, that's because I feel like you weren't going through like the lessons. You was like, here's what you have to get done. They would drop it into your inbox, essentially.
Yeah.
Give you an assignment. A lot of times it was like a book that I had to read, or videos I had to watch, or quiz. You know, like.
It was nowhere near
responses
what it is now.
Yeah.
I think we used Blackboard.
So we used.
Rarely.
We used Blackboard.
I didn't use it too much personally, but I'm sure other maybe classes did. But.
And I mentioned that my children are homeschooled.
Right.
So all of my children, except for my youngest because he's 2, all of my others are remote, using remote education. So I have one, my eldest is at Liberty University.
Yep.
So he takes some of his courses there. I think he takes science and math through, it's called LUOA, so Liberty University Online Academy. And so he does that. And then my other 2 take Abeka courses, which is an online learning platform where they have like they have a video of a classroom, and so it's like the teacher is in the classroom teaching, and you're just kind of there, and they do very well with them, and I think it's much better than.
They also have like groups though too. They can like join like.
Yeah.
I like Minecraft. Let me join this group with a bunch of other homeschooler kids.
So my eldest son does the and I forget the name of the school, but it's the Elon Musk school.
Oh.
Yeah.
The Center for I
It's like Synergy or
I
something
don't know,
like that.
but it just makes me think of like the Zoolander.
It is.
Center for
No, it starts
children
with
who can't read good.
it starts with an S. It's called like oh man,
Space School or something,
Space
probably.
School. It's something like that. But it's just kids that get together and solve problems through like games.
Oh, that's really cool.
So
Ad Astra?
no, maybe it's not the Elon Musk school then. I thought it was, but it's something with an S. I'll find out what it is. And they solve problems through games, through gamification, which gamification is, I'm telling you, if you are to enter into a field right now and you are wondering what it is that you want to do, remote education through gamification is the future. All federal organizations use gamification for their training, their mandatory training, like their cyber awareness training. You are in a game where you have to catch the cyber criminals and find out what people are doing wrong, and you're learning about it.
I love that.
Yeah. So gamification through learning is because there have been tons of studies out there that show that people learn most when they are active in learning instead of being lectured at, right? So if you can, everybody learns differently, right? So there's lots of different ways you can learn, but they have shown that people who are more active in learning, whether it be hands-on or physically engaged through like clicking and stuff like that. That's why you saw when I was in college, they had clickers. So they have clickers, right? Yeah. And they would ask a random question in the middle of their lecture and you had to click. Mm-hmm. That's to keep you engaged, to actively engage, because it increases your retention.
Trivia. Yeah. Those are fun.
Right, with trivia. So that portion of they do like it's gamification where they're going through. They have to solve a problem through like lasers or something like that. I want to say it's called like Synergy or something like that. Synergy Academy or something. I thought it was the Elon Musk school. Maybe it's not. Pretty sure it is. But yeah. Well, this has been that's our three. Those are our three articles. So did you see Coolio died?
I did. To be honest, like I know his songs, but
don't do this to me. You don't know Coolio?
I do know, but he wasn't like, I didn't grow up on Coolio.
I did. I grew up
clearly, but I grew up on like NSYNC.
Okay.
Britney Spears.
All right. I mean, I obviously grew up on them too. They were not like.
Okay, you were like prime like Backstreet Boy era. I feel like. Because they were like a little bit before, and then it was NSYNC, right?
I did listen to. Oh, I didn't listen to Backstreet Boys, but I know of the Backstreet Boys. They were very influential in.
He sang like "Gangster's Paradise," right?
Yeah.
Okay. So he had the
and
funny
that
hair,
1, 2, 3, 4.
He had the funny
Get
hair.
your woman on the floor.
He reminds me of Dennis Rodman, who I actually saw like last year in an airport.
So, him and Dennis Rodman.
Are they friends? They look the same to me.
They might have been friends. They're like right around the same age. They're like during the 90s Bulls era when Rodman was like marrying himself and coloring his hair and doing all that crazy stuff.
He's still crazy.
Coolio. That was prime
right
Coolio
there.
time. So yeah, no, I was a big Coolio fan. He wasn't like my favorite rapper or anything like that, or artist or anything, but R.I.P. Coolio. Gangster's Paradise, man. Hope rest in Gangster's Paradise. But yeah,
he's up there.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, thanks for hanging out. This has been another episode of the Work River podcast. We got a lot going on. If you guys enjoyed the Facebook live, so that if you guys aren't a member of the community, go work wherever on Facebook. Join our private community. It's remote workers, remote organizations, and we're going to be doing live episodes. So that if you guys have questions, want to participate in the show, feel free to do so. It'll be encouraged. As we record. If not, if you can't catch those, you can catch the live recordings on YouTube or the audio recordings through Spotify, iTunes, wherever your podcasts are found. We are building this community out, and then it'll all be kind of the hubbed there at Go Work Wherever, the website, which is TBD right now.
In progress.
TBD.
But looks great.
It does look good. We'll have to give a shout out to Jess when she finishes it. So, guys, thanks for hanging out. Until next time, it's been fun. And live every day like it is Saturday. Thanks, guys. See you.
Bye.
Hey there. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications
for all the latest videos from Capital Presence.